terms of tools. And that's really what we're going to focus on today, are some of the tools that we put together so you feel better prepared to work with clients who may be experiencing some concerns. Also, in terms of what we've learned with advisor engagement, I would say that 2 years ago, people were kind of looking at me like, that's really weird. This is a really weird presentation, and why are we having this conversation? Maybe you guys are feeling that now. But I find that, advisors universally feel somewhat isolated in working with clients who may be experiencing issues. And what you need to understand is that you're not isolated. It happens with in every interaction for advisors. There are things that advisors will encounter with their clients that's pretty universal. And so we really need to talk about it, and we need to think about what we need to do as an industry to help you work through some of these situations with your clients. And I'm going to hand it over to Adam, who's going to run us through some mental health versus mental illness.
Thank you very much, Carol. So, a couple things just to start off. Often we're presenting in the morning, and a good way to get the room going is to say, good morning, and everyone says, good morning. But if you say good evening, everyone goes to sleep after, so we're not going to do that. And the other thing is, I saw people making karate moves when they heard black belt in Lean Six Sigma. So, is anyone here familiar with Six Sigma? Okay, so it's using data to improve quality. All right, so I am a dangerous man, but not because I'm a black belt in Six Sigma. All right. What's interesting about it is it comes from the manufacturing world, and I brought it over to, not me alone, but people who are excited about it, brought it over to community mental health. And we were able to get phenomenal results when we actually started tracking data in different ways, making small improvements, really focusing in on those numbers a little bit to help get better results for people. So it's just another example of moving from one sector, taking something that's working and bringing it over, which actually is exactly what we're going to be talking about today, which is looking the other way, saying, okay, what's working in something like the mental health sector that we could potentially take over to the financial advice arena. What you'll find is there's a reason everyone's talking about mental health these days, because everyone has mental health. Okay, we don't all have a mental illness. About 1 in 5 Canadians is living with a mental illness. But we do all have mental health. Okay, so think of mental health like you would think about physical health. It can be positive, it can be negative, it's different day to day. It depends how people are feeling. I think one of the organizers today has laryngitis or something that's going to affect things, right? It's going to affect how people are feeling. It's a different time of day, right? This is a little bit later in the day. You've already absorbed a lot of information. The amount that you're going to be able to take in now is going to be different. That's your mental health. I think that was enthusiastic support for that comment. So that's your mental health, right? Your mental health is really how are you able to achieve the goals, the things that you want to set out. Now, one of the inputs to mental health can be mental illness, right? Symptoms of mental illness can certainly impact how someone's feeling in their day-to-day life. And the 90% of the work that we do in the community mental health sector is really around supporting that. It's not around curing illnesses. There's great medications, there's effective treatments and things that are helpful. But what people really care about isn't what's my diagnosis and how can I get rid of it. What they care about is I want to start a family, I want to have a job, I want to have friends. How can you help me get there? And we really need to tune into that. So mental illness is that diagnosable condition, a list of symptoms, a person has it. The psychiatrist looks into the big magic book of psychiatry called the DSM-5. If you ever want to have a good read, you can read the DSM-5. It'll give you all the symptoms of every mental disorder that you can have that we have a name for. You'll diagnose yourself with 50 to 60 different things in there. Doesn't mean that you have them. And same when you're talking to family members, friends, colleagues, clients, you can't diagnose people that way either. It's a lot more complex than just tick marks on a list. So it's important not to get into that sort of labeling. In a larger sense, it's not that important what kind of a mental illness a person has. What's important is their mental health and their day-to-day functioning. And you express through the research and also through conversations with advisors across the country, one of the fears is these boundaries, right? Are we saying to be an effective financial advisor, you have to be an effective psychiatrist? Absolutely not. But knowing those boundaries, being able to communicate them early in the relationship and to say, these are common things which could come up, and here's some supports that you might want to use in the community should they. One of them we're going to talk about later, which is called the Holmes Race Scale, which a lot of advisors have really connected with, and we've gotten a lot of really positive feedback on. So that's where this information can start to become really useful. So if you think about it, in any line of work where you're trying to support people to achieve their goals, and where often they're their own worst enemies, we have overlapping skills. And when you look at people's physical health or how they handle their money, things like that, that we have this emotional attachment to, and that is very much connected to our functioning in the world, we're on the same page, financial advisors and community mental health workers.